the fastest spring break in the world. Drivers push the limit at a track that leaves no margin for error. 2 classes, 1 goal. It's time for another thrilling round of the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. The emotion, the nerves, the pressure. And that's what every one of the drivers is feeling right now. Respect the bumps, that's the big line for Sebring. It's a war of attrition, where chaos is the norm and consistency is king.
All of the action, all of the heat. Oh, right there, almost a touch. Big trouble, cars off track and more contact. Oh, little bump there, and there's a little push and shove.
The championship push starts now. If it's March in Sebring, Florida, it's time to let it rip.
Can there be any better place to be in the week of St. Patrick's Day than right in the middle of Florida, where the classic circuit and the 3 3/4 miles that is the challenge of Sebring International Raceway could tell stories endlessly. Fangio, Collier, Gurney, Bishop, Ullman Straight, Le Mans Corner. That tells you about the history of this place. That tells you what this place means and what part it has and place it has in US sports car and indeed motorsport history. Reasonable to say that this is the birthplace of American endurance racing as far as circuits are concerned, and it is factually correct to also say that where we see the Alan J. Automotive 120 here today for round 2 of the Michelin Pilot Challenge is the first place we had a US Grand Prix. That's all distilled and still sitting there in the concrete of this circuit. Peter Mackay is alongside me, John Hindorf in the Ford Racing Global Broadcast Centre. Peter, absolute quality right through this field.
And the name of the winner of that 1959 US Grand Prix, McLaren. Are we going to see the same again today?
We have
here in
one.
the LNG? We have one right up the sharp end of the field, but I agree, everything with you that you say there. Sebring International Raceway is like no other place in the world. It is just awesome.
Toyota have 3 cars in the top 6. McLaren, BMW and Porsche join them in that first 3 rows of GS. It's Honda, Cupra and Hyundai on the front of the TCR. There will be a split grid. 33 GS and 16 TCRs make the incredible 49 car field. Our BDO pit lane reporters are ready to go. Ryan Marine, give us the update on the TCR field.
I've got my eye, oddly enough, on the back of the field. That's where Montreal Motorsport Group will start. Carl Whitmer, LP Montour, 3rd in the championship last year, and they came into this season with championship aspirations, but they finished a dismal 12th at Daytona. They had a puncture in qualifying, which means they could not set a lap. They have to start at the very back of the field. They may need some strategy to get to the front. We're told 52 minutes without fuel save is as far as the TCR cars can go, but we expect many of them to try and save enough fuel to make it to the hour mark or just beyond to make this a one-stop race. That is, of course, if it stays green.
And our Junior Kankapati is also in our BDO pit lane reporting team. It's actually a similar story in GS because the 33rd of the 33 starters really shouldn't be back there either.
Exactly. The BMW's actually quite strong in qualifying, but not the Peregrine 37 BMW. Sean McAllister had a bit of contact in qualifying that broke one of the steering arms, and so they start at the tail of the field. One of our championship hopefuls last year finished 27th at Daytona, and so in a race where the GS cars can only go as far as maybe 47 minutes is what I've heard down here, John. We heard it from Cameron Shields earlier. This could be a race with a 1, maybe a 2-stop strategy, depending on when the cautions come out.
Strategy plays into this. You think 2 hours, it's not really an endurance race, but the way IMSA work the regulations, it means those that are on the pit stands have as much work to do as those that are behind the wheel, and that is what makes it an endurance challenge as well as a sprint challenge. 2 hours are on the clock. A fantastic field of 33 GS cars, then a little break to the second safety car, and then they will pick their way through a 7, 8, 9, 10 car issue. LAP's Mustang is bent and broken, and they didn't even get to the start line before we had the incident. Pick the bones out of that Core Motorsport in there. Also see the 71 Aston Martin in there as well. This is a huge coming together. BGB Porsche in there. The Steve Vetterau, number 37, Peregrine racing car in there as well. I can't even see them all, and there's some walking wounded
Turner
as
96 in there too.
Well, that's what happens when you start the back. Scott Thompson in the 30 Mustang going slowly for LAP. That was one of the ones that was more easy to pick out. I reckon that's at least 7 cars in stationary at the moment, and probably another 2 or 3. This is not going to be a quick clean-up, Peter Mackay, because there are fluids on the track.
So on the pit wall, there's going to be very, very quick calculation going on right now, because this completely blows the strategy window open. Last year we saw in the race no full course yellow at all for the first time, and well, we didn't even get across the start-finish line, and the full course yellow has had to be called. Let's hope that all of the drivers are all right in there. The AMR safety crew on the scene to check that everyone is okay.
Yeah, the call from race control is this is a quote short yellow. That is a technical term that means the pit lane will not open. Now, obviously, anybody who has got damage can come into a closed pit and have that damage fixed without any major penalty. They will have to come back again when it goes green. At least 8 cars involved, including Tom Collingwood, Vin Barletta, Dan Amman. These are all cars that have had issues. So Matty Stewart from CSM, Steve Wetterau from Carbon, BGB, Tom Collingwood, we spotted that one. Frank Depew for Rebel Rock, Vin Barletta for Turner, Medusa Motorsport, Athens Sterling, Ray Mason from Core, number 60, the VRC Motorsports Dan Amman car, and there's some walking wounded on top of that as well, as remarkably, it looks like Dan Amman's Porsche has been extricated. He's trying to restart it. He might get that car. Here comes the field. He's going to drop a lap. The field sensibly being taken down the pit lane, which is closed in terms of stopping and taking service. This is absolutely what we didn't want to see. It all happened at the back of the 33 car GS grid. Green flag, and all it took was... yeah, it was a bit of a push by the bright orange Mustang and bright orange AMG, excuse me, to the car in front that spun it to the left. Managed to get away with just the pop bonnet. I think we might see some sanctions applied. The driver's right-hand side is where it started. It was the Peregrine car that got pushed across the track. But I have to say, I don't think it was their problem. Steve Wetterau got pushed from behind, Peter, and that's what started the domino effect.
That's going to take a long time for race control to go through each and every one of the onboard videos. They'll have to ask the teams to submit footage if possible and go through that, because it's so difficult to make a call. There's so many cars involved, and it looked like a kind of domino effect, and unfortunately the domino that fell was the Carbon BMW that got pushed across the line, and then that into the path of the cars behind. What a pity. This is not the way we wanted to start the Alan J Automotive Network 120 at all, and now this is so difficult for the teams, because it's very difficult to predict now when this full course yellow will end. You've almost got to try and think, how long is that going to take? The Murillo Mercedes has got back going again.
That's the car that started it for me.
It's so hard to say. It might have been. It was right in the middle of it, though. You're right. It was the reason why the bonnet of that number 24 Mercedes is pushed up, because it was the car that ended up in the back of the Peregrine BMW, but it might have been pushed from behind as well. We just don't know.
What I can't say is whether Aurora Strauss, who's in that car, got a push, or whether the cars in front of her checked up. But the action of her hitting Steve Wetterau is what swung him across to driver's left. It's pretty hard to hide when you've got a bright orange car. Wetterau is in the dark grey and yellow machine, green machine.
Big check-up.
He checked up. Wetterau's checked up because someone was out of line going slowly.
One of the Supras.
It is one of the slower starting Supras that got out of line. Steve didn't want to overtake because that would have been a penalty for him. You're not really supposed to pull out of line, so there was a problem for one of the Supras further down the field. Was that Harrison Goodman in the BSI racing car?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. The red and black car, that is their colours. The TCR field had to pretty much stop to get through the debris field, and the worry there will be potential punctures on their Michelin tyres.
Was Harrison Goodman, who just got a little bit out of line, and then it just checked up. It's a really difficult one for race control to pick the bones of. That's exactly what they'll be doing right now. Now, when we're at Daytona for the BMW M Endurance Challenge, we can see right into race control because it's clear glass.
Yeah.
We don't have that luxury right now, but we know it'll
floor higher up.
They're up there somewhere looking through this one.
Hole, Peter.
Yeah,
that could
get
be
a little periscope.
Yeah, from the Ford Racing Global Broadcast Centre. Let's check in with our pit lane reporters. Our BDO team already working the lane there, and Ryan Marine is at LAP, one of the cars that was involved, but it did at least come back to the pit lane, Ryan.
It's actually a remarkable feat. Scott Thompson drove that car all the way around. His view was almost completely obstructed by the hood that was up covering the windshield. That hood, crumpled and damaged, has been removed entirely from the front of that car. I had a peek inside the engine bay looking at the frame. I don't see anything out of sorts there. I don't think it was actually that heavy of an impact, but what it has done is it's crunched up a lot of the plastic components and the hood and things like that. The lights, the right front headlight in particular, has been pushed back into the engine compartment. Right now, they're trying to remove all of the bits and bobs on the car that might have come loose in that contact. One of the crew members has a fistful really, of zip ties that they're going to try to use to secure anything that's been knocked loose. I'd be also a little bit concerned about the radiator. The grill's been pushed back. I can't see, because there's a crew member there, if it actually has been pushed back into the radiator or not. But things, I think it's probably okay. The only bad news is the field is coming through, and Scott Thompson and LAP Motorsports are about to lose a lap.
Also down in the pit lane, Arjuna Kankapati. Arjuna, did you see if the Porsche came through, the number 91 came, and did that get back to you?
I don't see it on timing, John. I'll head that way towards pit lane. I was just taking a look at the replay with one of the teams, and they were trying to pick their way through the mess of what was happening. And yeah, there's just a lot of frustration down here on pit lane.
I can imagine. I can't imagine. That's all your best plans for a race like this have just disappeared in a moment. Now, what this does do, the pit wall will be on the radio to their drivers, Peter, saying, save, save, save. If we get this into a window where you can do just one pit stop for both of those classes, this will be a completely different race to what we're expecting. Better or worse, I won't say. As into the pit lane comes the whole field again, with the front straight here absolutely solid. It looks like 27 North heading up to Orlando on a Monday morning. More of the Steps wrecker trucks down there than I've seen before. How many are there? 5, 6, 7, 8?
All deployed. Unfortunately, the Murillo Mercedes is being pushed back to the garage area, unlikely to return. A lot of damage at the front, huge damage to the front of the retro livery Turner number 96, sporting the original Turner colours, were inspired by the Williams Lagunas in the British Touring Car Championship of the mid-90s.
Yeah, Jason Plato drove those cars then, and he's just launched his own British touring car team.
Yeah,
with AMG
Maybe
Mercedes.
They need to create an American mark and come and do Michelin Pilot Challenge in
I'd
TCR.
love that.
Why not?
I'd love
Why
that.
not, Jason? his bronze grading must be coming soon.
Do you know what? I don't even know if he's still got a race license. I'll have to speak to him.
Well. So this, of course, here in the Michelin Pilot Challenge, 40 minutes is the minimum driver time. So we have 2 drivers in each car. Each driver must be driving for 40 minutes. Now, it's going to be very difficult to calculate because the teams have been coming through the pit lane. Of course, that won't count as non-driving time. It will be still ticking. It's just a safety thing. But so that is very important
that's
to the
going to give our timing and scoring guys all kinds of issues.
All kinds of headache. Thank goodness we don't have to worry about that. But 40 minutes is absolutely critical part of a Michelin Pilot Challenge strategy and getting it just right and getting the win. Let's
say also, thank goodness, we've got the team from Alcamel Timing, and they are next door to us. 2 things that is great about Alcamel: their timing is second to none in terms of their services and the way they provide the data. Secondly, they have a great coffee machines.
They do.
Great coffee machines. Never travel without them. Let's head down to our BDO pit lane reporter, Ryan Marine, who's still with LAP.
Yeah, bad news because the car just was driven back to the paddock area. I've got one of the 2 drivers, Clay Williams, here. You've been on the radio with Scott and presumably the team as well as they talk through the extent of the damage. What can you tell us about what Scott said about the incident and then the likelihood of maybe getting the car back out?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear much about the incident. I mean, Scott didn't say much. I think it all just happened super fast. I mean, I didn't even see what happened out there. Yeah, I mean, obviously our hood's pretty destroyed there, and the front end's pretty crushed. The biggest thing is we have a lower hose that's cut, so we're going back to the truck right now to see if we could salvage anything and just get a couple laps and see if we could salvage anything out of it.
Tough start to the day. You had LifeLink on board as a special partner. I know that's a special program for you.
Yeah, LifeLink's here. They're actually out in the infield, so anyone to here wants to go check them on out. They're here to save lives and promote organ donation and registration. And yeah, super unfortunate. Looks like we're getting some TV time out of it, but yeah, hopefully we make it back out there.
Tough luck, Clay, who was named, by the way, to the Ford Junior program in the offseason, but tough break there for the LAP team. They're back behind the wall.
The following cars, at the very least, were involved in that GS midfield incident. Aurora Strauss in the bright orange number 24 Murillo Mercedes. Scott Thompson, we've just heard about. That's the LAP Ford Mustang behind the wall now. Still being recovered. Carbon, BMW number 37. These cars that I'm going to mention right now, none of them even got to the start line. So Steve Vetterau in the Carbon car, the Turner number 96 Vin Barletta, Tom Collingwood for BGB Porsche, the 83, Madeline Stewart, the CSM Porsche, number 3, Frank Depew, Rebel Rock Racing, Aston Martin, number 71, Sterling Athen for Medusa Motorsport, sorry, Athen Sterling for Medusa Motorsport in the Mustang, number 4, Ray Mason for Core Motorsports, number 60, and Dana Mann, the VRC Motorsport Porsche. They did not even get to the start line and the green flag. As we come past the incident for the 3rd time and go on to lap 4, let's have another update from our BDO pit lane reporting team. This time it's Arjuna Kankapati.
Well, first, John, I'll answer your question about that 91 Porsche. It has not returned to the pit lane, and so still stuck out there, running up towards the start-finish line. I also just saw the number 14 Aston Martin head back out there. They've been very cleverly heading to pit lane and working on the car for as much time as they're allowed before the field comes back around, trying to avoid going 1 lap down. But they've officially ripped the rear bumper off the car. Still a lot of exposed bodywork there, but I'm assuming next time down they'll return to pit lane and try and attach a fresh bumper to the car.
That's David Hampton for Circle H Racing with the big smiley face on the side, the number 14 Aston Martin Vantage AMR, and they've dropped behind the whole of the field at the moment as the TCRs are going through the pit lane. We've had 15 minutes already, Peter Mackay, under yellow, and it's going to be more than that as we come around. This is, in terms of strategy, it's leveling up the playing field a little bit here, because I reckon now with an hour and 44. We're getting down towards 100 minutes. And if we get another 4 minutes of safety car, which we will, because I think if you gathered up all the carbon fiber parts that are on the front straight, you could probably construct some kind of Frankenstein's monster of a GS car. But get down to 100 minutes, that's 2 50-minute chunks of racing. And I think all of the cars can do that. Let's hear from Tyler Gonzalez. He's with Arjuna for this BDO Pit Lane report.
And while TCR Machine's not necessarily involved in this incident, it's going to have an impact on their strategy. So, Tyler, what's the consensus here? We were talking about this pre-race, 52 minutes or so for these TCR machines. Can you now make it with just one stop?
Yeah, for sure. We can go all the way just with one stop, but it's still going to be a battle of attrition. Sebring is no joke. It tears these cars up. So we got to make it last and keep it clean. Still a lot of racing left to go.
I know Daytona was a bit up and down, a bit of contact led to some penalties, but I think one thing was clear, the pace in this Cupra is still there, especially given that you guys are able to avoid changing rear tires over 4 hours of racing. How's the balance here for a 2-hour race at Sebring?
Yeah, we've worked really hard on it this weekend, and so far so good. Franco definitely has the pace. I feel like we're really good with the car, so just got to play it out and keep it clean this time.
You and Victor have a really great relationship. Just talk to me about what that relationship is like behind the scenes, off the track.
Yeah, Victor and I have grown together over the years, so it's an honor to be a part of this team. We got a great group of people. It's always a fun time at the track, and yeah, it's just cool to start with something so small and keep growing it together. So love Victor to death. I love all these guys, and hopefully we'll get a win today. And
he told me a story. It was some 16 years ago where you went up to him at a NASCAR race and told him one day you were going to drive for him. Did you ever think you'd be here?
Man, it was a long shot for sure, but I'm glad I am, and like I said, we'll see what we can do today.
BDO Pit Lane reporter, that's Arjuna Kankipati. Race control, by the way, trying to make some sense out of that incident before the yellow flag. There are better men and women than I think most of us, if they can do that. There was so much going on, and actually trying to understand and identify where that all started. They do have some more views than we'll see, in fairness, because there are some track cameras that we don't see that are available to race control. But unpicking that may be difficult. I called out Aurora Strauss because she was the car that pushed Steve Wetterau around, and that on the left-hand side of the grid caused the conflagration there and all the carnage. What else was going on around, I can't say.
I think it's, unless it's very clear where it started from, you almost have to call it as an unfortunate accident and racing incident, sadly. I would think that race control, if I presume they can ask for the onboard from the cars, from the teams, and that might take a minute to get that all.
From the stopped cars, they'll be able to get that pretty quickly.
Take the data stick or the onboard USB and plug it in. So I think also the thing to consider is once the cars have been recovered, they'll also have to treat the surface, because there's quite a lot of fluids being dropped. A lot of cars bashing into each other, brakes, radiators and all sorts. So they'll have to make sure there's no fluids there that don't need to be, because that's a fast part of the racetrack at racing speed when they're exiting out of the final corner, and you don't want that to be messy. So that'll need to be treated too. But AMR safety crew doing a top job as always with the steps record trucks, getting the cars cleaned up quickly and safely. That's the main thing. And return them to the paddock. But not this, but the 20 minutes down, we could potentially be another 20 minutes behind full course yellow, and then, of course, the minimum driver time is done. But for some, this is where the strategy, I think, comes in, John. Some crews have started with their weaker driver. This is to their advantage, of course. And some have started with a stronger driver, which is to their disadvantage.
And remember, the pits are still closed for service and or changing drivers. Will Turner is down with Ryan. We'll take some more BDO Pit Lane reports. Arjuna coming up in a second.
Perfect opportunity, I think, to talk a little bit about that strategy with Will Turner, because you've got two cars. Luca Mar's up in 4th. Vin Barletta a little bit further down, 24th, I think, in class, if I'm reading your screen correctly. And it's two different driver lineup compositions. You've got a bronze that you have to work around in one lineup, not so in the other. So I guess the one was in the incident there, wasn't it? But with that in mind, we were kind of talking through the permutations of what this yellow at this stage does. Can you kind of help the listeners understand the way that a GS team might look at this, either as an opportunity or perhaps as a hindrance?
Yeah, sure. And I think it's a little too late for the other teams to hear what I'm saying and take advantage of our strategies here. No, but so right now we're in fuel save mode because this is a perfect opportunity to try to do this race in a one-stopper, which we couldn't have done without a long yellow. So right now, again, our thought is let's make it a one-stopper and put our second driver in, put Dylan in, and hopefully we're at the front now. Hopefully we can stay at the front or keep it in the front. With the other car further back, his job basically, because you are that far back, is to pretty much stay out of trouble, which you can see didn't happen today. But what he would have done is stayed out of trouble. We would have taken advantage of a yellow if we could stop early. Fill them up with fuel and wait for the next pit stop, actually. But again, now this changes everything, but it also helps everybody with this, the amount of time this yellow has taken. I think everybody can make it on a one-stop now, which is going to be exciting because I don't think we've had a one-stop in GS racing in a while.
Okay, so that would then mean, presumably, the last stint would be on the longer side. How is the BMW over the long run? We know it's got decent one-lap pace based on the qualifying effort yesterday, but how about long-term?
Yeah, so inherently, the BMW is pretty good over long-term, so we hope to take advantage of that. But also there's some other cars that are pretty close as far as that goes, so I don't think we will have an advantage, but we definitely won't have a disadvantage going the whole way.
Appreciate the insight. We'll let you get back to your lunch.
Thank you.
Morgan Burkhardt, let's talk about what this means from a driver's perspective. We've been talking about only one stop now, but does it mean you're going to be a lot more aggressive when you jump into the CSM number 2?
It does. I mean, everybody's on the same strategy now. There's a whole lot less ability to play around with what you're going to be able to do. So as a driver, you're going to be getting in, and you can't really count on another yellow. Everybody's not going to have another stop at the end, so it's just flat out go for it. For the guys that are at the back, like the Carbon, the 39, they haven't had the ability to be able to march through the field as much as I'm sure they'd like to. So some of those like really, really quick front-running cars at the back, they're going to have to take risks and make it happen because you can't count on another yellow. The field's a lot smaller now, so it's a whole lot different as a driver.
The field being smaller, even though we're going to be more aggressive, does that actually reduce the likelihood of additional cautions?
Pretty much. I mean, you've got a whole lot less possibility. I mean, if you reduce cars in a field, the probability that something's going to happen is just less. So we'll see.
Brilliant stuff from our BDO Pit Lane reporters. Couple of things to report for you here as we're still under caution. There was 10 cars involved. We'll run through them again for you in case you're just joining us here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV here at the second round of the Michelin Pilot Challenge for 2026. It is the Alan J Automotive Network 120. It's going to become the Alan J Automotive something like the 130, 2 45-minute stints here. It's going to be, I think it's going to be really interesting. Number one, for the first time, the safety car took the field through the front straight. So track services are doing a cracking job sweeping and drying and clearing. Secondly, as we surmised, Race Control have told all of the teams that the drive time, even though cars have gone through the pit lane, will all be counted unless you stopped for emergency service in your box or you stopped for someone to have a look at your car in the box. Now, obviously, I can't tell you that, which ones of the cars that is, but I think that's only cars that haven't then reappeared at the end of pit lane. Aurora Strauss and Scott Thompson for Murillo and LAP, they went into the pit lane and haven't yet, at the end of lap one, and haven't yet reappeared. The Carbon number 37 BMW is out. BGB is out, or at least was involved, and hasn't yet started the race, these cars. CSM, Madeline Stewart, number 3 Porsche. Rebel Rock Racing, Frank Depew, with a very badly damaged Aston Martin on both sides of the 71 car. Turner Motorsport, Vin Barletta won't get the opportunity to play that strategic card in the 96 car. Medusa Motorsport, Ethan Sterling in the number 4 Mustang, and Core Motorsports Mustang for Ray Mason, the number 60, as well as Porsche 718 GT4 for VRC Motorsports and Danaman, that 91 red, white and black car. All of those cars involved and not yet been scored as taking the start. I think most of those were towed away, so that will mean that they will be out of the running. The GS class split is ongoing, Peter, so we're not that far away from going to green.
No, now the character of the cars has changed, the body language of the cars has changed. Before they were trying to drive round as slow and using as little fuel as possible. Now the drivers are weaving back and forward, trying to generate some temperature in at those Michelin tyres, and also accelerating sharply and standing on the brake. The idea that is the heat that comes out of the brake disc puts heat then through the wheel rim, and then by association the tyre, so that the tyre is ready to give good performance early on. That's what the drivers are doing now. We're of course doing that. Big acceleration, big braking, big acceleration uses fuel, but this is what they need to do to prepare the car. Means that we're going back racing soon.
They were saving fuel and saving Michelin tyres actually behind the safety car. You want to take as little out of that tyre as you can. I thought it might be an hour and 30. We're coming to the line now. I think we'll have at least one more safety car lap. What I'll do for you now, this could be fraught with disaster, but I'll give you the running order in GS. In TCR, it will be grid order, so that will be Rocco Pasquarella for KMW Motorsports, Franco Girolami for Victor Gonzalez and the Cupra, then the Hyundai of Mason Filippi, the Stallion Motorsport Cupra of Rafael Reis, Lance Bergstein and Brian Herter Autosport, and then the top 6 made up by Baker Racing and Sam Baker. That'll be how they start. It will be in single file. At the front of the GS class, really no change, or very little change at least, from the grid, but it's outside the top 10 where things have changed. So it'll be Varanchowski for Rafa Racing and the Toyota, Ibiza Farm Motorsport, Moise Uretsky and their McLaren in second. Then it's the Porsche of VFX, the BMW of Turner, the Pan Am Motorsport Toyota, number 54. McCumbee McAleer Racing in the Mustang, Kosh Copeland Motorsports Toyota, Random Vandals with the BMW. So that's at least one of the Toyotas have lost a position. I think it's the Ford Kosh car. Top 10 made up with Hannah Greenmeyer and her Heart of Racing Aston and Paul Holton. Then Bryce Ward in the Mercedes, Bob McCallion in the Ford Mustang, and here's where it all starts to change, because we've lost a whole group of cars from the middle to the back of the midfield. So it'll be Alan Patton for Van der Steur, Austin Kreitz for Autotechnic, ST by Random Vandal, Sam Tan in 15th, Chris Miller in 16th, Gordon Scully for CFM Porsche in 17th, Sean Quinlan for Stephen Cameron Racing, Harrison Goodman for BSI, who had, I think, had an issue at the start and pulled out of line. Was that a contributing factor? I don't know. Ted Giovannis is the best of now only 2 bronze class runners still mobile. The other one is right behind him, Bron Tomlinson for Shopify Porsche. Then Sean McAllister, not able to make up any ground and having lost half an hour, 30 minutes. And then the limping, but back on the back of the GS field, Circle H Racing, Aston Martin for David Hampton. There are 23 cars that are still running of the 33 GS that started. The incident will be reviewed post-race. The reason that they're not looking at now, there are no cars still running that I think were involved in it, and I think Race Control have come to that similar conclusion as well. The Sebring Lexus safety car has accelerated away about halfway down the Ullman Straight. Oh my goodness me, I have to do it all again, this time in single file. We will have just on 90 minutes to run. That's easily doable on one spot, on one stop from here. Varenchotsky gets the jump, gets the restart perfectly well. And we are back under green flag after that 10-car incident coming to the original start. The Ibiza Farm Moisioretsky-driven McLaren is clean and clear in second, but it's 3 wide for third, fourth, fifth, and right in behind there, the Ford Mustang of Robert Neuecker as well, the dark blue car with the black stripes, and he already makes up a position on the Supra of Caio Chavez as they come through turn 4 under the drive over bridge and down through Big Bend and down towards turn 7.
In the TCRs, it was side by side going over the line between Rocco Pasquarella in the black Honda and the Cupra of Franco Girolami. Will confirm in a moment who has got the run there in that very tightly contested TCR battle. But Varenchotsky, he's checking out, he's gone.
It's the bright yellow Cupra that's leading in the TCR class. It stands out even through the amount of cars and camping we've got on the infield. Car into the pits, that's Sean McAllister. I think, is it in the 39? Yes, it is. Let's get down to the BDO pit lane crew.
John, they told me they were going to come in at the first chance of RTN. I can see why the right front has taken some damage, but not significant enough to replace the bumper on the BMW M4 GT3 car. Now they have changed the right front. They're packing it full of fuel as well. Unfortunately, they've dropped the car and actually caught one of the hoses for the air jack, the tire guns, excuse me. And so it's going to roll off and away as they push it back to avoid taking a penalty, I believe, for that. But crucially, John, car is, I won't say fixed, they're missing a couple of dive planes on the right front, but back out as they try to recover track position in this 2-hour race.
Also a strategic stop, I believe, for the Aston Martin number 14 and Ford Koch in his Toyota Supra. They came in, I suspect they topped off with fuel to go longer into the race or make their second stop shorter. Great battle going on. Random Vandals, the 92, BMW, the green and white car, and right alongside the number 46 is Paul Holton as they go side by side into turn 1. Surely only one car can go through there. In behind, we've got one of the Astons coming through as well. That's the number 66. Is it the black car? Yes, it is. And who's pulled out? Ron Tomlinson's pitted as well at the end of that lap. That's out of that battle, Shopify Racing, and that leaves Ted Giovannis then in great shape for the bronze category. But what a battle this is towards the bottom end of the top 10. Alan Patterson, Nicky Hayes, Paul Holton, all in the battle. Right behind that number 46 of Paul Holton, 7th down to about 11th there altogether.
The Shopify Porsche, Ron Thomason coming in, as you mentioned, John. Whoa, big moment coming through the Fangio chicane then for that number 92 BMW, fighting a little bit further down the order. Nicky Hayes for Random Vandals in fight with the number 66 Van de Stoor Aston, and through comes the heart of racing Aston as well. So it's double delight for Aston Martin down there at Cunningham Corner, and they move through in that battle at the back end of the top 10. Sorry, go ahead.
Great opportunist move there by Hannah Grainmeyer in the number 26 Heart of Racing. Is there a bit of tyre rub going on with that Random Vandals BMW, the number 92 car? It certainly looked like there was a bit of smoke coming off that car. Let's hope it was only tyre and not an engine problem.
I think it's the Aston. It's the Heart of Racing.
Oh,
Aston
is it?
On the rear right.
Yes. I just saw it coming up in that gaggle of cars. Your eyes are far younger and better than mine, Peter. I'll take what you say there. So that will have been the Aston that's in that fight. At the front of the field, Rafa Racing have cleared off. Varenchotsky has disappeared to the tune of 1.2 seconds. We have got 85 minutes to go.
And the minimum driver time will elapse in just around 5.5 minutes or so. So we went basically, the driver time has been ticking since the drop of the green flag, which of course most of the time we've been under the full course yellow behind the safety car. So we might see a lot of driver changes going on shortly. Side by side nearly for the TCR lead. Girolami switches in the Cupra to the inside, but Pasquarella in the Honda says, no way, I'm holding on to this lead. They're just a few car lengths ahead of Mason Felipe in the Hyundai, but it's battle Cupra, Honda, Hyundai, all there in the mix. Like we've seen all week long, everyone in TCR has been up there at a point.
Lance Bergstein's not too far off the back of that leading quartet either, as he is trying to bring them under a potential for attack with that Hyundai Elantra number 18. More cars pitting again, and was that a drive-through? Arjuna, was the work done on that car that came through? I think it was Ron Tomlinson again, wasn't it?
I think that car went straight through, but John, the 39 Peregrine BMW is back in. They're taking a much closer look at the right front right now. I think the gaffer tape that they had initially used to try and reinforce the structure on the front end of the car not quite working as they intended, and it's a lot more tools being used as they get to work on what we thought could be a car that was fighting for the championship this year.
Yeah, that is a very, very good point. And the problem, Peter, is that this is such a tight championship. You can't afford a bad weekend. We've got a full course yellow being called for debris on the circuit. There was a certain sense of inevitability. I didn't want to mention that. This is at the Christensen corner, turn 3. And I kind of feel that's probably from the inside of a wheel arch or something like that. Now, we are 3 minutes away from drive time.
We are, but we are not in the window to get home to the end of the race.
No.
Unless this was a very long full course yellow, which it won't be because it's just for debris. So another head scratcher for the teams to figure out what is the best strategy.
Well, Ford Koch and David Hampton in the 23 Supra, and David Hampton is in the Circle 8 Racing Aston. They were both damaged cars, but they did come in, and I think they got a splash of fuel. So that might play to their strengths. Even if you're just putting some tape on the car, you'd refuel that machine. Here he comes through the final corner now and onto the front straight to see the yellow flags. Debris at turn 5 as well, we're hearing. Of course, we will split the cars again. Now, it's not been 15 minutes since the last caution, but because it is another caution, I think they'll open the pits this time around.
Yes, because it was after a short yellow, it then has to be a full yellow the next time.
Yes.
So
no pass around for the cars. I don't think that's required, and nobody's lost a lap. The cars that dropped into the pits and then went back out again are still on the lead lap in GS, and therefore they'll get the advantage of the GS TCR split when we go back to green. What a start. What a start. The conundrum now is, do you come in and do your driver change and then know that you've got to come in, that you've got to come in again, or do you leave your starting driver out and do a shorter stop with 40 minutes to go or something like that?
That really depends, case by case, on the gap between your stronger driver and your weaker driver.
Looks like the Peregrine barn car. I saw the hand across the throat, the slash move from the mechanic. I think that car's done.
Speaking of hand signals, the number 20, the number, not a rude one thankfully, the number 23 car, the Toyota, which is Ford Koch and Jackson Bell waiting. Ford making almost like a hand signal, as if he's pointing forward, going, let's go, as if he was in a group saying, let's not fight each other. It's I don't know what he's actually
I
signalling
think he's
at.
signalling to the pits not to pit.
Saying we're going to keep going.
We'll keep going because I'm sure they took a splash of fuel, and I think he can go further into the race if he wants to. I'm not sure. This is one, I normally have feelings about things straight away when it comes to this. The pits are open for the front of the field for the GS cars. Do you come in, put a new set of Michelin tyres on and your second driver in, knowing that you'll have to do a splash with about 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes to go?
So you're probably gambling on another full course yellow, because then if we go full green to the end, then you'll be punished by taking an extra stop. But if you have another full course yellow, you might not be. I honestly don't know what I wouldn't want to make this call. This is, for the team strategist, this has been the complete opposite of last year. Last year was very simple, green flag all the way through, no problem. Now it's way different. Leader coming in, so Varun Choksi going to pit now with an hour and 19 minutes to go.
Let's head down to the pit lane and our BDO pit lane reporters. Here come the gaggle of cars. Staying out is Caio Chavez. That's the story. Let's go to Ryan Marine.
Boise Uretsky pitting from second place. I beat the Farms in the McLaren. John Donovan, the strategist, making this call. He's already out of the car. Michael Cooper is climbing in, and it's a set of scuffed Michelins that are going on the 44 McLaren Artura. This is a pit stop where the pit crew could make a difference. They don't need a full tank of fuel. It's not going to be fuel limited, so as quickly as they can get the driver change done, they're still waiting on that change. Now it's complete. Crew running around the back of the car, and Michael Cooper looks like he's going to win the race off pit road on this side of the pits at least.
Very interesting, though, that the McCumbly-Macaleer Ford Mustang, the 13, I think it was only fuel only for them. As I'm watching driver changes for the heart of racing, the Hanu swapping around, but also the JDC Porsche off and away. And I saw the driver egging on the crew just before the car slotted in, and it was a good pit stop there. Ryan's not just right that the team can make a difference. Let's not forget, these are 5 lug nut machines. There's a lot more work and a lot less crew to get the job done.
And he was spot on. Robert Newing has stayed in the Ford Mustang GT for number 13, and also TGM left Paul Holton in their number 46 car. So I'm going to bet that they only did a splash of fuel to get back to full tank. Or almost an incident on the exit coming through the RFID chips as the cars were coming out of the pit lane. The Rafa number 12, which was our leader, is out right behind the Ford Mustang, but had to stop, had to almost come to a dead stop to slot in behind the orange Mustang number 19, the Stephen Cameron racing car of Gregory Leafouche, who's now in that car. That's going to shake up the field in GS. I mean, the simple maths now is whether you've stopped or not in GS, there's one more pit stop. It's just when it is. Caio Chavez stayed out in the Pan Am Motorsport Toyota Supra, chose the track position, Peter.
Yeah, they're the outlier, actually, that number 54 Toyota for Pan Am Motorsport.
So what do you do if you're TCR? You can't get home from here either. An hour and 16 minutes. That's somewhere in the region of 25 minutes to half an hour on the wrong side of the fuel calculation.
Really tough one. And also with Robert Noaker being left in that 13 Ford and the 46 TGM Ford and Paul Holton also being left in, they have to pit with more than 40 minutes
Correct.
to go. Fuel or not, they
Correct.
have to, otherwise they'll be disqualified for drive time. So it's the drive time is as much of a factor as the fuel is in a race like this.
So we've got 75 minutes to go, give or take. That means Paul Holton and Robert Noaker, they want it to be green for as much of that as possible, and they will rip around for 35 minutes and then change their drivers. Here comes the TCRs, led in. Oh, not all of the TCRs coming into the pit lane, but certainly Mason Filippi has come in. Let's get down to Arjuna Kankapati.
I have just seen the 77 Cooper, the Stallion Motorsports with Go Racing entry. That's going to see Celso Neto jump in, but it's Victor Gonzalez Racing that do end up splitting it. I did see Tyler Gonzalez on the wall thinking he was going to jump in, but no, the 99 stays out. Franco Girolami stays in, and instead it's the 21 machine that is going to have the driver change, and it's front tires only. Remember, these touring car machines put all their power and steering through the front, so sticker Michelin tires as they get set to go to the end.
Down in my section, guys, we saw Brian Herta Autosport also splitting up their strategy. We saw Lance Bergstein out, Harry Gottsacker in. That car was running, I think, about 7th prior to this round of stops. And then you called it, Mason Filippi. He was the first TCR car on the pit lane. That means Bryson Morris has climbed aboard. That's really interesting, though, to see that BHA not willing to lock into one strategy. They're trying to cover all their bases.
Terrible pit stop for the number 21, Dr. William Talley, out of that car for Victor Gonzalez Racing in the dark grey Cupra Leon VZ TCR. Lost a lot of places with cars going by. I think it was a seatbelt issue for the incoming driver there, and Stephen Clemens therefore will have to do a bit of work. The pits are open for everybody now. No final wave by, but we will do a class split. So let's just go through this again. The pit counter has, now that's interesting, Alcamel Systems, I salute you. I almost want to run next door and give them a round of applause. They've reset the pit counter so that the guys who've stayed out are now showing 0 on the pit through the pits. That is outstanding work from those in timing and scoring. So Caio Chavez has not stopped in GS. He will assume the lead then in the Pan Am Motorsport Toyota. Of the TCR cars, Rocco Pasquarella for KMW Honda, Victor Gonzalez, Franco Girolami, they were at the sharp end of the field. LP Montour, who started dead last on the field, is 3rd, having not stopped. And Eddie Gould has not stopped either in the Go Racing with Stallion. Those are the TCR cars who haven't stopped. Riley Pegram has not stopped either, according to what I am seeing. But just one of the GS cars, Caio Chavez in the Pan Am Motorsports Toyota, has not stopped. Now we get the GS class split. Peter.
This is a cerebral race, isn't it? So much happening, and also I'm just trying to figure out were there any of those TCR cars that kept the same driver in. Leave that one with me. But that's also
the ones that stopped.
Of the ones that stopped, exactly, because in GS, Robert Noacre's number 13 Ford crew left him in. Likewise, the TGM Ford of Paul Holton was left in. So I'm just calculating to see if any of the TCR teams have done the same.
Official retirements now for some of the cars involved. Aurora Strauss being one of them in the number 24 Mercedes. Also official retire. I think we probably could have guessed most of these, but it is official. Car number 91 has gone as well. Where's my cursor? There we are. I'm trying to work too many screens here. It's Dan Aman for VRC Motorsports Porsche, and also official retirement Tom Collingwood for BGB Motorsports in the Porsche. So they have put in their paperwork. Well, Peter. Lights are out on the safety car. The class split has to be completed before turn 16. Let's have a quick word with Nate Cicero from Macumbi Macaleer as we're coming back to green.
We did wonder about the different strategies. Nate Cicero, tell me about this call to leave Robert out there, slight top off on fuel, and you have to get into the car inside of the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in a really good spot. We topped up on fuel and sent Robert back out. Still got good tires, only ran about 7 laps, so yeah, we'll see what we can do.
He said anything about the balance of the car that you're looking forward to then go and push even harder for?
I didn't hear anything yet, but I'm sure the car's in a good spot. The Ford Mustangs are always feeling really good, so yeah, we'll see what we can do in this race.
That's really interesting. Of course, if there's another yellow, then they would love another yellow flag in about 15 to 20 minutes time, and then they'd bring Robert Noeka in, get him out of the car. It would be as fast as they could get the second driver in and send the car, and they would need less fuel. Fuel should always be the determinant factor in your pit stop, unless it's very, very early on. You need to get all the other work done and the fuel hose still pumping, and that's a good pit stop.
So
you've been working out who left their starting drivers in.
So Luke Rumberg has been left in the number 31 RVA Graphics Audi, and
it's TCR, yeah.
TCR. This isn't TCR, yeah. GS we've covered, but championship leaders and number 76 Brian Hurd Autosport Hyundai have left Preston Brown in and kept any DuPont in reserve. So
wow,
they need to come in again regardless, even though they have pitted. So they must be placing their bet on there being another full course yellow. And if you're playing the law of averages, we've spent more time under full course yellow than we have under green so far in this race. So let's see.
The short answer is everybody needs another pit stop. It's a question of timing. As my father used to say, everything good or bad in life is just a question of timing. Let's go back to green flag racing, shall we? 69 minutes to race. Across the line for Caio Chaves with Ford Caution, Danny Dyser and Robert Noack and Luca Mars and Paul Holton and Dan Arrow and Michael Cooper and Stephen McAleer and Robert McGuinness all going through. Bill Orbelin's in the BMW now as well, but that's a good restart from Caio Chaves in the bright orange Toyota Supra. He's got Ford Kosh all the way from the back. That was one of the cars that was running through the pit lane, remember, trying to make sure that they were all right. So their timing will be a little bit. We're hearing now that the 96 Turner Motorsport BMW is officially retired, battling in the midfield, as you might imagine, people jostling for position. Ibiza Farms and the McLaren, the number 44 coming down the outside. That's got Michael Cooper. He's just shuffled onto the grass in the Fangio chicane coming out of turn 7. He's going around the outside of the TGM. The TGM Aston, can he make a Ford, excuse me, trying to make that stick? He does into turn 10. Nice move, very nice move indeed. That was for 6th position. Marvellous stuff as Michael Cooper is making up ground hand over fist at the moment in that Ibiza Farms McLaren. But at the front of the field, Caio Chaves, they have rolled the dice and they have put their cards on the table now. It's one more stop for them down the inside into the Jean de Bian Benz. Robert Noacker gives up a position to Luca Mars in the BMW. Noacker knows that he's only got 30 minutes maximum in that car.
Luca Mars, reigning champion, of course, sharing the car with Dylan McIver, and they started 5th, but looking very racy indeed. Caio Chaves, interesting, the Toyotas have arguably been the strongest car through the week. They've showed really good pace, but they are taking a gamble here. They are going against the grain. You know, there's more front-running cars that have gone on the same strategy than them. So the two Toyotas, have they got it right or have they got it wrong?
Rafa Racing's formerly pole-sitting car, now with Kiko Porto behind the wheel, will have to come through the pit lane. They're down in 18th. They had people over the wall before the cars stopped, and also getting a penalty and coming in to serve that now is Bill Oberlin. Pit lane speed violation, just 1k, but it's an absolute. They have both fulfilled that. They've gone into the pit lane to get those out of the way straight away, just in case there's a full course yellow, but that has put a wrinkle in their plans.
Pole-sitting car getting a drive-through penalty for pit lane speeding behind.
No, that was people over the wall.
Oh, excuse me, sorry, my apologies.
Problem down at turn number 1 as the pit stopping cars, the cars that have done their penalty have just come out, and this is the TCR number 72 of Riley Pegram and the Honda Civic, the red, white and black car, supported by Lindsay Honda, and that car is now pointing in the right direction again.
Father and daughter team.
Yeah.
Larry Pegram, a very accomplished motorcycle racer, raced with Honda in motorcycles, and now driving a Honda with 2 extra wheels along with his daughter Riley. What a special thing to do, to race with your family. Oh, car going slow. William Talley. I know we're 21 there. No, it's okay actually. My mistake.
I think he was just letting the GS car come through.
Stephen Clemens.
That was the recovery now. Kiko Porto 21st in GS. We know that Rafa Racing Toyota's got pace. It qualified on pole position. It will have to make one regular stop again before the end, and Kiko Porto on drive time to go at the end, but he'll need some more fuel.
TCR, you got Rico Pasquarella leading the way with the number 99 Cupra.
Has not stopped.
Exactly. Neither has the number 93 Honda of LP Montour, the number 55 Audi of Eduardo Go, and the 72 machine in TCR, which is Riley and Larry Pegram. Of course, we just saw Riley have that slight issue at turn 1, thankfully, without any further problem.
Yeah, and they have not stopped, as you say. Oh, yeah. With the, absolute slam dunk for the Rafa Racing car. There's a fueler standing waiting for the car as it comes in, and that is not allowed. That isn't even close. Sometimes you just topple off the wall as the car is coming in.
And one of the pit lane officials right in front, and you won't get one past them. I'm sure it wasn't done deliberately. It's just one of these things that, it's almost one of these things, as soon as you've done it, you go, oh no, I know I'm not supposed to do that.
Another full retirement, Roy Mason's Core Motorsport Ford Mustang officially. We'll keep an eye on the on-track activity. Let's pick up some more of the chat from the pit lane, as I'm just hearing as well that the LAP Motorsports Mustang, the Scott Thompson car, is back from behind the wall, some laps down, more than a dozen laps down, 15 laps down, but they are trying to get back in the fight. Meantime, it's down to Ryan with this BDO pit lane report.
Dean Copeland is the team owner, Koch Copeland Motorsports. Ford Koch in the car right now running second. You're on a slightly different sequence to most of the GS field. Where do you feel like you sit strategically with just about half the race to go?
Yeah, you know, Ford's doing a great job out there, putting in just solid, clean laps. Wanted to get off sequence there a little bit. The guys out front of us had a little bit more pace than us. Ford's doing a great job right now. I actually think we're okay. I think we're in maybe the catbird seat. This point, kind of nothing to lose. We were top 5, top 6 car. I think even at worst, we're still going to end up about there. But if all works out, maybe a little bit better than that.
What do you need for it to all work out?
We need a banger of a pit stop.
Your guys can do that, though.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I got a lot of faith in my guys. We got a great crew. Jackson Bell has been driving really on fire this weekend. So maybe we get Jackson in there with some fresh Michelin rubber. You never know what can happen.
If it stays green, how much longer can you go?
Right till we reach the point where Jackson needs to get in for minimum drive time.
There you go. That's what we wanted to hear. Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, that becomes a slightly easier strategic call at that point, Peter, doesn't it? For Caio Chavez and Ford Koch, the Pan Am and Koch Copeland Motorsport cars. Also, there was another car that I thought that had done that. Left there, starting drivers in, as I'm hearing now that another one of the cars that had the issues earlier on has been pushed behind the wall. That never sounds good, does it? That's that David Hampton Circle H Racing car.
Yeah, the car run by Archangel. Oh, off the road,
crash.
no!
Another crash, and this is at the sharp, cars that should be at the sharp end of the field. In the dust, there is the Shopify Porsche, and it was the number 33 Hyundai, the multicoloured machine. Ron Tomlinson, who's not had a good day so far, been in and through the pits a few times. He's got damage to the front left of that number 22 green Porsche, and it's rubbing against the Michelin tyres. But I'm pretty certain I saw emerging from the dust there the 4th place TCR car of Bryson Morris, the number 33.
What was it you said? He doesn't believe in coincidences. Your dad said that, didn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And at turn 7 on the runoff, the Porsche has pulled up. Ron just got off the circuit, coming out of turn number 4 into turn 5 and 6. And the Michelin tyres, he wasn't quite off the surface, he just spun them up. And I'm afraid it was a case of wrong place, wrong time for the Hyundai. And Bryson Morris could have done nothing about that in the Hope on Wheels number 33 car as the Shopify car just spun across the front of him.
What's remarkable is that the number 33 of Bryson Morris, the car has appeared to take the hit pretty well.
I think it was flat on the nose, to be honest. That's the thing.
Yeah, so we'll watch the sector times of Bryson Morris very, very closely. He's a superb driver, so he lost in that incident 9 seconds. So the main thing is the car okay? Can he continue? And because if so, he's still not out of this. But that was such bad luck there for Bryson Morris. As you rightly say, John, wrong place, wrong time. He's just clicked through that last sector now as we speak. That number 33 Bryson Morris, third, 8.1 seconds for him. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Meanwhile, Ron's got behind the wall at the orange overlap at turn 7, so we can stay green. That's good news. Morgan Burkhardt has been assessed incident responsibility for an incident earlier on in the race.
That's what the JDC car, the number 17 Porsche, Mikey Taylor. Oh. One we didn't catch on camera, to be honest.
Very unusually, yes. The Unitronic car, Mikey Taylor's in that car, taking over that car. So he'll be fully lit there. So expect the CSM Porsche to come in a moment or two to satisfy that drive through. Now, let's just check what's going on the track before we take another BDO pit lane report. We've still got to decide our Michelin moment of the race for both TCR and GS. We've got just under an hour of action to see that. Good to have your company. Ford Racing Global Broadcast Centre, Peter Mackay and me, John Hindhoff. It's settled down just a little bit, I think, with the 2 leaders in TCR having not yet stopped, with the 1 leader, Caio Chavez, having not yet stopped in GS. They're playing a different tune to everyone else. Let's head down to our BDO pit lane reporters and hear from Arjuna Kankapani.
Wanted to figure out what happened there at the start. BSI Racing was involved with it. Harrison Goodman, what did you see as you came to the green flag?
It sort of seemed like a bit of a late start, and then everyone in front sort of checked up a bit, and I sort of checked up, and then everyone behind me sort of checked up a lot more, and then it's sort of what happened sort of thing. So it seemed like a bit of an interesting start, but I'm not really sure what happened overall behind.
Races continue to be interesting. You've got some bodywork that's not quite fully attached to the car. When are you going to come down and top off on fuel and try and stabilize the part a bit more?
Yeah, I think it's the damage is left over from the start, so we'll see how far we get with it, and then when they come in, we'll probably have to try and fix it then and keep it going for the rest of the race.
And John, you chronicled the issue for Bryson Morris out on track. I had a quick word with his co-driver, Mason Filippi, who's been listening in on the radio. Asked Mason, hey, is the car okay? And he said, it sounds like it. So it seems like good news on that front from BHA.
And whilst we're talking about BHA, there's been a change in the lead at turn 7 for TCR. Classic turn 7 outbraking manoeuvre. Franco Girolami, one of 2 drivers that have not yet stopped. They've played the track position game, and he's just gone up the inside of Rocco Pasquarella, the pole sitting Honda Civic. So Cupra now lead at Sebring, and that dark grey number 99 car then having taken the lead. They have still got a stop to make. They're coming down. I reckon in 2 or 3 laps time the leaders are in their pit window to get to the end, and then it becomes choice and strategy about when they take that. They have to come in within the next 25 minutes. That's the simple part of that, because they've got to get their second driver in.
They do, that's right. You have to make sure they do 40.
Sorry,
So
15 minutes.
You've
not
got
25.
to get them, and you have to get them out before that clock goes 40.
Correct.
That's the thing, to make absolutely sure on it. So while it's joy for Cooper at the front of the field, unfortunately not so for the number 21 Cupra in TCR. Dr. William Talley and Stephen Clements, who's at the wheel right now. That car is running winded. It's way off the pace that it should be. It is still running, mind you, but there is something afoot with that car.
Yeah, 2:29 last time around, when you really should be running 2:14s or better. Very interesting. Let's see if we can get a word with the team. Our BDO pit lane reporters listening in. So Girolami leads in TCR from Pasquarella by about a second. Cupra from Honda. Let's not forget JP Montour started at the back. Now, he, I think, has been into the pit lane. No, he hasn't. So that's another car that hasn't been in the pit lane. So he's only got another 15 minutes. Celso Neto for Stallion has been into the pit lane. So it's only the top three in TCR who haven't been in the pit lane. And here's Mark Wilkins in with 54.5 minutes to go. This should be the last pit stop. I think this has to be the last pit stop. Maddie Oust got out at the last opportunity as soon as she'd done her 40 minutes in that pit stop that we had at the end of the yellows, or during the yellows. So 54 minutes is what they reckon they can do in the TCR car. So we're in the window for TCR.
I think you are, yeah. And, you know, will we go all the way green? Who knows? But yes, even if we do, you've got the fuel to do it. Girolami pulling away a little bit from Pasquarella. So is that Cooper slightly better on a longer run? Because the Honda was very good off the restart and was able to be very strong and hold off Franco Girolami. But Girolami, oh, he's doing the proper rally car style as well, like we saw from Harry King in the IMSA WeatherTech qualifying, hooking the carb over on the S's down towards Le Mans curve and onto the Elman Straight.
The car with the pace at the moment in GS, Peter, and we saw it. It was very obvious indeed. The Ibiza Farm Motorsports Artura is closing in on the leader. Started way down on the restart. Last time I looked, they were 6th, and now they are 2nd. Now, all right, there's been a pit stop, I think, in there. Kaya Chavez is still leading at the moment, but his lead is down to a 2nd on Michael Cooper, who has taken a pit stop. So Michael Cooper can drive to the end. Kyle Chavez cannot.
I don't know. I don't think Michael Cooper can.
Did he start the car?
No, Moise Uretsky did, but they pitted with the first full course yellow with about an hour and 20 to go thereabouts. Right. So I think he's been in the car for 25 minutes. So no, that they can't go to the end from here. But also you got to factor in.
Sorry, no, I mean his drive time. He can go at the end.
Oh, his drive time, of course. Yes, absolutely. But on
fuel,
definitely not. No. So yeah, he can be left in the car, correct? And he has 20 minutes. Newer tyres than Kyle Chavez does in the 54 car, leading the way at the moment for Toyota.
Yeah. TCR pit stop for the Honda Civic number 5, Riley Pegram. Rocco Pasquarella in the number 5 has handed that car over. Arjuna.
Nice tidy pit stop for them as they roll off and away. Also into pit lane, it's the multicolored winner of VIR last year, Speed Syndicate RVA Graphics. Jaden Conroy taking over from Luke Rumberg as they roll off the air jacks. A little bit of a slow stop for them as well. I'm not quite sure exactly what here, but they are getting the attention of the IMSA official, which, John, is never a good sign.
Mechanical black flag out as well. Oh, hang on, I'll get back to that in a moment, because we've got a slow car halfway around the track, and in fact, it has stopped, and that's Morgan Burkhardt for Porsche, the CSM machine, but Morgan has got that car behind one of the orange overlaps. The orange is there to show drivers that there is a gap to get through, so we'll stay green for the moment. Let me get back to that mechanical black flag. It's BSI Racing Supra and the number 67, Lucas Weisenberg, in that car. And the reason, if you're trackside, is pretty obvious. It's got most of the right-hand side of the bumper at the back hanging off.
Yes.
I think that was the car that was involved right at the start, actually.
It was, yes, it was. Yeah, agree with that. Yeah, and it's been hit from the rear, interestingly. So, coming back to what we were trying to pontificate on earlier,
speculate, not pontificate.
Pontificate, speculate. It's so difficult to call right now who has got the right strategy, who has nailed it on the point. That is so difficult right now. Denis Dupont is up to 3rd place in TCR, 16 seconds off the lead, but needs to pit very soon and get into the pit lane because he needs to hand over to his teammate.
No, Denis Dupont was.
Sorry, excuse me. Preston Brown has come in then, so they've done the switch. Yes.
Yeah.
So so they're good to go now.
Yeah, correct. They did it spot on the time. Let's go down to Ryan in the pit lane.
MMG just pitted from 2nd place. It was a really clean pit stop. All they were waiting on was the fuel. Front tires only, as you would expect. LP Montour out, Carl Whitmer in. This is the car that started last in class and used the caution periods to go off sequence. Now we'll see how it plays out, but that should be their one and only stop of the race.
Battle for the lead. 3 across the track with the TGM car not involved. Battle for 1st place now as Caio Chavez stayed out and the Ibiza Farm Motorsport car has come through. Michael Cooper will lead the motor race and across the line will be scored as the leader. In comes Caio Chavez. That was the time to come in. 50 minutes to go and Chavez and the rest of the Pan Am Motorsport have played their strategic card. This, Ryan Marine, is their final pit stop.
Yep, the one and only, I believe, unless they had a top off earlier. Thiago Camilo is getting in. Caio Chavez did a great job to get this race started. We also expect Ford Koch to be in a couple of laps to give way to Jackson Bell. And looks like a pretty clean pit stop so far for the Pan Am guys. I'll keep my eyes on it down here, let you know if anything happens to pop off.
Luke Rumberg has just jumped out of the Audi that we saw stationary on pit lane for a little bit. Talk to me, Luke. You were in a great spot strategically, but what happened?
Yeah, we were going into 17, and a GS car decided to try and throw it down in on the inside and hit us right in the tire, and it just ruined the tie rod, so probably ruined our race, but we're still going to go out there and try and salvage as much as we can. Fortunately, GS cars, a lot of the drivers don't have common sense out there, and they like to mess with us.
Looking on the positives, the early safety car made for lots of different strategies, but I think you and the team were in a good spot.
Yeah, we were excited for that because we were going to be short on fuel anyway, so being able to have that little extra time, it really helped our fuel gap.
Franco Girolami on pit lane. This was the car that didn't stop, remember. Franco is out of that car. They're waiting on the fuel. This will be their one and only pit stop for the Cupra. First gear, wheel spin, down and away. And now we're starting to see, much like the 400 metres, when they set them all off for the 400 metres hurdles, the stagger unwinds at the end. Different strategies, but we're inside the pit stop window to go to the end on VP Racing Fuel. Incident being looked at, another incident going to be looked at by race control. Trenton Estep for Van der Steur Racing has had some contact with Random Vandals number 92 BMW. That's Robert McGuinness. As in comes the Ibiza Farms car. Now this is really, really smart because that stop from Caio Chavez has triggered this. They can't afford, the Ibiza Farm guys can't afford to get caught on the wrong side of a safety car.
Yeah, they're covering it off. Very, very clever. I don't even know if they are putting it up on the jack. So we're looking to, are they going to put new Michelin tires on? Yes, they are, on the right-hand side of the car, which of course on this anti-clockwise circuit is going to wear more. So I didn't see them put left sides on, John.
No, absolutely not. Still waiting for the fuel to go in. The car is down. It'll go immediately. It can. Ford Koch, by the way, has inherited the lead in the number 23. And they are on the wall for the Koch Copeland Motorsport Toyota GR Supra. Robert Neuecker now as well must be thinking about coming in because we're only 6 minutes away from them timing Robert out. And if there's a safety car now, that doesn't help them. You get no respite from that 40 minutes driver time. really important on the rejoin here. Two Supras together going through 10 and 11. And the Koch Motorsport car just getting the position. Really important as Jackson Bell in the Koch Copeland Motorsport number 23 in pink this weekend.
It's still Ford Koch, so they need to pit him. They need to pit him soon, otherwise they will time out on driver time. So they've got to get Jackson Bell in the car within, I would say, at the end of this lap.
Yeah.
Maybe one more if you want to risk it.
Yeah, correct. Yes, I thought they'd already done that. My apologies. I thought that was the out lap. I was had the crystal ball out for that. It's not a difficult one to work out, though, is it?
It's like trying to read 49 different books at once.
Yes,
chapter by chapter. It's pretty complex, isn't it?
Now, the TCR battle is beginning to clear up as well. Celso Neto, Stallion Motorsports with Go Racing. He's got to come in. Did he start the 77, Peter? I've now completely forgotten.
No, that they've done a driver change.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Here comes the Koch Copeland car. BDO pit lane reporter Ryan Marine is right there.
And he's pitting right behind the Pegram Racing Honda. The good news is that car has just now cleared out. It's Larry Pegram in. Riley had gotten out of it. Now to the Koch Copeland car. Dean Copeland told us they were going to push it as close to that 40-minute to go mark as they could to maximize this strategy. They were off sequence. They told us they thought maybe a 5th or 6th place car at best if they just did everything everybody else did. So they're trying something a little bit different. It's 4 tires going on. It's a long fuel fill as well because they've run really deep into this stint. Everything looking smooth here so far. Driver change done, tires done, fuel is done. Waiting to drop the car off the jacks. Little delay there, and it's now Jackson Bell who stalls. Car is stalled, trying to get it refired. Now he rolls away.
And what that will do is allow the McCumbly-McAleer Ford Mustang to inherit some track position. They're happy with that pit stop as well, as Nate Cicero jumps in. Also into pit lane, the Heart of Racing, number 26. They've got some damage to the right rear. The exhaust is actually exposed behind where the bodywork would usually hide it, but seemingly not slowing them down. Quick pit stop, back onto track for the Hannahs.
Hannah Grisham brought the car in. Nate Cicero taking out the... Hannah staying in that car, by the way, and Nate Cicero takes out the Ford Mustang GT4 that we were talking about there, and that is a very good turnaround for that dark blue number 14, with number 13, excuse me, with the black stripes across the top. Van der Steur Racing and Aston Martin Vantage lead with Trent and Estep, but they've got a problem. Incident responsibility, we told you it was being looked at with Robert McGuinness and the Random Vandals. They will have to do a drive-through. Also in that pit stop, Heart of Racing, right at the sharp end. The Hannahs have done so well. People over the wall before the car stops. Drive-through for the number 26 Aston. Pit stop penalties proving to be very, very expensive.
And Kiko Porto, who's fastest of all the fastest lap, fastest in every sector, started on pole, but is on the fight back because of a drive-through penalty for a pit lane infringement. What now?
It's Celso Neto leading in TCR as he went out for Stallion Motorsports with Go Racing. Again, people over the wall before the car stops. That's about the 3rd or 4th one we've seen today, and none of them have been anywhere near close, so he's going to have to come in as well. Trenton Estep does his drive-through. Now, when was that car last in the pit lane for full service? 15 laps ago. So I think he'll stay out now. They might have been thinking about coming in and doing their last pit stop, but Trenton will now stay out and play the long game and hope for a free pit stop later on.
Hopefully, yeah. They're just hoping for a full course yellow now. And that puts the championship leaders, the number 76 crew, Denny DuPont and Preston Brown, who rolled the dice on strategy. Everyone rolling the dice in different directions. Who is it going to suit? Well, they're into a good spot right now, but they've got Harry Gottsacker right behind in the number 18 machine on the same strategy. Likewise, James Vance in the Baker Audi, who's only 1.7 seconds behind. So TCR is alive, but we've seen this several times before where not necessarily the quickest cars come to the fore. Sometimes it's more about who gets that strategical who gets that mastermind puzzle right, and it's so difficult to get it right.
Pit stops for Team TGM, the leading bronze category race car. Hugh Plum in and out. That's his last pit stop. Also in the pits, Bill Oberlin. Samantha Tan racing by Random Vandals. Remember, he did a drive-through as well, but that car has cycled through to the sharp end of the field as well. What a shuffle this has been. Awful start to the race with 10 cars involved and only one of them coming back from behind the wall. That was the LAP Motorsports Ford Mustang. Clayton Williams behind the wheel of that. That car is some 16 laps down, but running in 23rd position in class, and they will make up some more positions. Actually, there's at least a couple of positions that they'll make up from that going through. That assumes there's no further issues for cars ahead of them. They have a handful of laps to make up though on the cars ahead. 40 minutes to go. So if you haven't made your pit stop and put your second driver in now, you are out of time. Well, I think everybody has done it, Peter.
Pretty sure, yeah. So Kiko Porto now leads the race. So the pole sitter back towards the front. Varon Chosky started that car, but Kiko Porto has been at the wheel for 26 minutes since his last stop, which means an hour and 6 minutes to go. That, to me, I would say, is too far to go on one tank of fuel. So they made that lead that they have right now of 28 seconds over Michael Cooper. Is that enough to get in, take a splash and come back out again? I think that is mighty tight.
It's too tight. It's too close for comfort. Really too close for comfort, isn't it?
Unless he can make it a bit bigger over the next 10 to 20 minutes. And last time by, he was 7/10 of a second quicker than Michael Cooper in that Ibiza Farm Motorsport McLaren. And don't write off Dan Arrow and Windward. Windward, they're sneaky, aren't they? They always just appear out of nowhere.
They're strategically adept.
Exactly. That's what I was getting.
I'm
yes,
saving
they go.
You from yourself.
No, quite right. That's sneaky is the ultimate compliment in race strategy. They go, where did they come from? Brilliant driving by Dan Arrow since that 40-minute in mark. They are 33 seconds off the lead, not quite lapping at the same rapid pace of the Rafa Toyota of Kiko Porto, but in the mix nonetheless.
I think.
Oh, no.
I think Kiko
another
Porto
penalty.
Is going to be close, but I think it's doable. What's the penalty, Peter?
Trenton Estep, wheel rotation while elevated drive-through in the Landerstur Aston.
Oh my
Not
goodness.
another one.
That's a second penalty for that car, isn't it? Because they had the instant responsibility. Let's take a BDO pit lane report from Arjuna. It's actually an interview. Who have you got, Arjuna?
Sam Baker, the Baker Racing Audi, sits in third, but seems like these top four still have a splash and dash to do compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, I mean, first off, glad everyone's okay. I hope everyone's okay from that incident. But yeah, it's definitely turned the race upside down from a strategy perspective. We got two groups right now. We're in the one group, and track position's looking good now, but certainly, yeah, we're coming in for a splash.
What's the message to your teammate then as you get ready to get to the end? Because it's a bit of a sprint. We've got two different strategies kind of developing. What's he focused on?
Hang on and have fun. I mean, he's good at what he does, right? He's here for a reason. We love having him on board, and I have all the faith in the world that he's going to maximize the package and the situation that we face in front of us when after that stop. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Kiko Porto, I'm trying to work out. Kiko Porto had a drive-through, didn't he?
Early on in the race, yeah.
Early on in the race.
Yes, for the first pit stop, they had a pit lane infringement of some description. It has escaped me. There's so much has happened in this race. This race is only 2 hours long. We've only had an hour and 25 minutes of it, and you could write a whole sequence of movies about this particular race. Pit stop now, 76 car for Bernhard Autosport, Hyundai, Denny DuPont, Preston Brown. They were a little bit behind on strategy, I would say. Will this play back in their favour? They might need a full course yellow.
Matthias Lei's been off the track and has rejoined in the VPX Porsche. It's dropped him 3 or 4 positions and he's down to 15th in GS. Actually, it hasn't dropped him that far. In fact, he's come straight into the pits. So maybe something more of an issue there. Trenton Estep. Has he just done a drive-through?
He had two, yeah, the wheel rotation.
Yes, Trenton Estep has, but not Matthias Leist.
Shouldn't have.
Okay.
No.
So he's big.
In the number 7 machine? I don't think so.
No, he's come into the pits and stayed into the pits. So slow on the backstretch and has come into the pit lane and has not yet re-emerged. Trenton Estep's done one of his drive-through penalties in the Aston Martin Van der Steur Racing 66 car. Kiko Porto came out of the pits with 1 hour and 5 minutes to go. I think that is too much, but I also think that if there's any yellow, he doesn't pit. I think he stays out and goes for it.
True, and if it stays green, he might have enough of an edge, 28 seconds,
soft
to
pedal?
Come in, well, yeah, fuel safe big time. He's clearly got pace. He's another 0.7 of a second quicker on that lap there ahead of Michael Cooper in second place in the McLaren. But I think if he can build that gap a little bit, come in and a splash and go, I think this is going to be mighty tight. And we know how dominant the Toyota's been this week. So even if he comes out behind the McLaren, he might have the pace to catch up and pass. So this is far from done for Rafa Racing, but you've got to think they'll be kicking themselves about that slam dunk penalty for the fueler coming out too early. Yes.
Yeah,
now, before I go any further, Ryan Marine, one of our video pit lane reporters, has thankfully confirmed that this is from IMSA officially. The drivers that were involved in that lap 1 incident, Madeline Stewart, Ethan Sterling, Steve Wetterow, Ray Mason, Frank Depew, Tom Collingwood, Dan Amman and Vin Barletta have all been evaluated and released from the infield care centre, which is the most important part to report. Old problem now for the JDC Porsche. This is at turn 1. Mikey Taylor's having to turn off the road. Now, this car's been in the wars. It was punted by the number 2 of Gordon Scully earlier on.
I think either he's got a loose rear wheel or a suspension damage on the left rear of that car. He's pulled up next to the AMR safety team. Mikey Taylor, exceptionally experienced driver, top bloke to work with as well. I've done a few promotional events with him. Hails from South Africa originally. Gradually getting all the news of the retirements from that 10-car incident at the start. As I said, only one car's come back from behind the wall. That's the Circle H Racing Aston Martin. And sorry, that was the LAP Motorsports Ford Mustang.
Leader is pitted.
And Clayton Williams is still circulating. Leader is in the pits now. Kiko Porto for his last pit stop. Now, what we've got to keep an eye on now, Peter, is where is the Ibiza Farms Motorsport machine? Comes to a halt.
He's gone by a good margin. Yeah. Porto into the pit. He's still in the pits, and the number 44 McLaren is already coming around turn 1.
Yeah, it's such a long pit lane here. I think the transit time is something over 30 seconds, and needing about half an hour of fuel. Don't fulfill it, guys. Send them as quick as you can. Dan Arrow's gone through. In fact, the top 10 cars have now gone through. So Kiko Porto's got a huge effort now to the end of the race. Full rich, no save, and 1 or 2 of the cars ahead of him did come in right on the margin, but that car is fueled to the end. Let's see how fast this Supra can go.
They need full course yellow though, I think, and if they get it, that is a race-winning car. I think without the full course yellow, it's a big ask for Kiko Porto.
James Vance has come in the leading TCR, which was inside the top 10 before he pulled the Audi into the pit lane, the Baker Racing car, and also pitting Chad Gilsinger, the gunslinger from Hart Racing in the Civic. Let's go down to Arjuna for an update on some of the pit action.
I saw the VPX Porsche sat there on pit lane, John. They've got both the left front and the right front off, and the wrenches were getting to work on the left, but I think they were content enough to put the tyres back on the car and hoping they'll be able to send it back out to complete this race.
I am still struggling to get my head around this. Well, it looked like Mikey Taylor. Suspension, left rear suspension, I thought it was, and it was coming out of turn 17.
Which is where, that was where the car was hit by the number 2 Porsche Cayman of Gordon Scully. So it's maybe a problem that's sort of worsened over the last half an hour, 45 minutes or so. That's a shame.
So how far down the field did Kiko Porto drop? I reckon somewhere near the top 10. And indeed it is the top 10. Chad Gilsinger makes a bad situation worse, and this is so unusual for Chad. He's come in to do his pit drive-through for the incident, and sorry, for his pit stop, and he's going to have to go through again. Meantime,
championship leaders puncture
right front for Denny DuPont. He was going to the end, but the Michelin has decided it's not, and this is going to drop that number 76 Hyundai way down the field. He's trying to stay out of the way of cars coming through.
If that tyre detaches onto the racing surface, that could be an absolute win for Kiko Porto and the number 12 Rafa Toyota, because if a tyre comes out onto the racing surface, they will have to throw a full course yellow. It's not so far, it's hanging on to the rim of that Hyundai Elantra.
Denny DuPont having real troubles holding that car in a straight line. Of course, the front wheel steering and pushing that car forward. And it's
a long way from home.
There's nothing left on the inside. It has detached from the inside. The carcass is on the outside of the rim only. And he's being passed at such quick speed. He is going so slowly. Another pit lane violation as well for...
That's the same one for Gilsinger.
Gilsinger,
yes.
Excuse me, he wasn't close, it was +5.
For Michael Cooper in that Ibiza farm McLaren, that is the last thing you want to see when you're leading with enough fuel to go, 28 minutes to go, you're 6 seconds ahead, and you see a car going slowly, you're thinking, no, please, no full course yellow, no, not now, please. But Dan Arrow's on the charge. Dan Arrow, last time by in the Windward Mercedes, was actually, he was last lap, he was 3/10 slower, and in fact he's losing time, but he is actually surprising. The gap is going up, but he's 6 seconds behind the leader, but slowly, when others have fallen by the wayside, making his way forward.
He is 1 lap worse off since his last pit stop, and I do think those guys were tight. They were coming in at 54, 53. And I think that's tight for a GS car. I really do.
He might be having to fuel save. I think he can make it. Do you know, I play devil's advocate. I think he can make it, but it will. You're right. It will be tight.
I think they can make it. I don't think they can make it at full speed, Peter.
Right. Yeah. So exactly. Yeah, I agree. You've got to. You have to soft pedal it, but Dan Arrow can do it. What a shame for the number 76 crew, for Brian Howard at Autosport, Preston Brown, Denny DuPont won at Daytona. What a win that was, and to get a puncture at about halfway round the circuit, that's a long way home at crawling speed.
It's Brian Hurd at Autosport, 2nd, 3rd and 4th behind Victor Gonzalez in TGR. I thought he was struggling to keep the tyre on the rim. I think he's trying to get rid of it. I think he wants a full course caution. Because
I wondered that. I didn't want to say it, but I wonder that.
I do. It's not going to happen now because he's in the pit lane. But there's been a couple of little wiggles there. I gave him the benefit of the doubt and thought that it was just losing control, and we'll stay with that for the moment. Nate Cicero now behind the wheel of the McCumbee Mackley at number 13 Mustang. There's a car that's in the conversation as well. Down in, what, 6th position, 5th position. 20 seconds off the lead as the team go to work at Brian Hurd at Autosport on the 76 Elantra. And Arjuna has this BDO pit lane report.
They've done a great job to avoid shredding that tyre and causing any damage to the right front, and so it is only, John, going to be the right front replaced. This has not been a race that's historically been trying to Preston Brown and Denny DuPont, and unfortunately Sebring has struck once again.
Such a hard place to come here. Dan Arrow, 2nd position, and a strong 2nd position at the moment, 11 seconds on Dylan McIvern, and they're lapped almost to the 10th last time around. He's just taken 3/10 out of Michael Cooper in the Ibiza Farm Motorsport Artura. but that's not enough, even with just under 26 minutes to go. But what a run by the number 57 Winward car. What a weekend for Bryce and Russell Ward, who are Winward Motorsport. Not only racing here in 2 different championships with 3 cars, they are the AMG factory team in DTM, and today they've got 2 AMG GT3s. Well, not now because it'll be finished, but earlier on today it was practice day for NLS2, and the Ravenol entered car and the Red Bull Verstappen racing car both being run by Winward Racing at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, the shorter version of the Grand Prix track used in NLS. And that race is a 4-hour contest tomorrow, and that will be from 6:15 at Eastern time here. Now Caio Chavez getting beaten up as he's trying to go through the field. Sorry, Kiko Porto now in that car with Hannah Grisham and Billy Johnson all in and around that car at the moment, and that is the battle at the bottom end of the top 10. Kiko Porto's fought his way through. Jackson Bell, it was actually, not Hannah, that was in there as well, so they've got through that. That is a good run for Kiko Porto. I reckon now, Peter, up into 7th position.
Kiko Porto, yeah, he's in 10th in the number 12. It's the Chavez started and handed over to the 54 of Thiago Camilo. The Pan Am car has moved up a position there, going past Gregory Leifouge in the 19 Ford Mustang.
Yeah.
It's at 7th. Then it's Jackson Bell in the pink Toyota Supra in 8th as they tumble into sunset. It seems that the Toyotas, the 54 Pan Am car and the 23 Coke car, that off-strategy play that they made doesn't appear to be paying off at this exact moment.
Yeah, excuse me, mixing up my Toyotas there. Welcome to the benefit of air conditioning in the Ford Racing Global Broadcast Centre for our erstwhile BDO Pitlane reporter. Hello, Ryan. Welcome back to the booth. That was a bonkers start to the race, and I mean, everybody, it almost like it was like people were asking the Magic 8 Ball what they should be doing. There were so many different answers.
That's what's fun as a pit reporter. You're running around up and down. No one quite knows what they're doing. You have people pitting in different sequences, always something going on. And it's a shame that it was predicated on the fact that it was a struggle with the incident at the beginning for so many. But lots of storylines for us to try and keep an eye on and figure out how this tapestry is going to be ultimately woven together.
The retirements keep coming from that 10-car incident at the start of the race.
Oh, that's the JDC car that went behind the wall shortly.
Indeed, yes.
Ago. Yeah, Mikey Taylor, that's a shame for that crew. Of course, former TCR champions with their Audi. Switched to GT4 GS last year. Just hasn't quite gone their way, unfortunately. Jackson Bell coming up a bit against a bit of resistance here in the fight for 7th position. Gregory Leifouge in the 19 Ford Mustang as they come up towards Jean de Bienne, trying to hold off Jackson Bell. Very impressive young man. He has been flying all week, but strategy right now, if you get a full course yellow, you can reshuffle the deck again, but if we stay green, maybe a little bit too little too late, and the strategy hasn't paid off.
I reckon we've got a minimum of 13 cars that have either retired or stuck in the pits or out of the race somewhere around the circuit. Team TGM with the biggest move. They've gained 20 positions in that number 64 car. Hugh Plum in that to the end now. They sit in 12th position. It's a huge field of GS cars. Immediately lost a third of them at the... Actually, before we even got to the start line. A lot of those cars are going to be classified as non-starters, so 0 points for those cars.
That is so painful. And, you know, we talk about picking a bad day to have a bad day. Some of these big events at the front end of the season where the field is bigger, you're punished a little bit more for not having a good result, but it creates opportunities for others. right now. Continue to watch Jackson Bell put the pressure on Greg Leofouge. This is a really interesting contrasted experience. Greg's been at this for a while, really quick GT4 driver up against Jackson, who's in his first full season of GT4 racing, coming from Toyota GR Cup, and he's looking like he's on the attack here. He's got the fresher rubber to work with.
Turn 7 for that. Well, gentlemen, we have to start thinking about 2 Michelin moments of the race, one in TCR and one in GS, and I'm not even sure where we start with either of those. Certainly in terms of moments, can you make a tactical call, a moment of the race? Maybe it might have to be that. We'll have a think about that here in the Ford Racing Global Broadcast Centre as Austin Kreitz talks to Arjuna in this BDO Pit Lane Report.
Well, we wondered if the BMWs might be quicker on the slightly warmer Fast Friday. Austin, is that something that's materialized?
No, honestly, this is a pretty cold Sebring Friday. I was hoping it was going to be at least like 5 to 10 degrees warmer. I think the BMW definitely would have benefited from that. But, you know, we make do with what we got, and we're sitting in a pretty position right now.
You finished 4th here last year, on course potentially for 4th again, but you're hunting down the Turner car in front. You did some interesting things with your tires during the pit stops.
Yeah, so we pitted under caution. We took 2 tires and fuel, and then Steven came back in for another splash of fuel and 2 tires. So, yeah, a little different strategy than most, but he's going to dig deep, and maybe we can get away with a podium. I'd like to finish better than 4th.
But ultimately, the season started a lot better. Daytona, top 5, on for another top 5 here. The championship hopes are well and truly alive.
Yeah, you know, last year we finished 3rd in the championship. You know, Automotive, first year in full season IMSA, my first year in IMSA for full year. So, yeah, off to a better start this year, and, you know, we're hunting for that championship.
Billy Johnson's just had a moment and then rejoined. It's dropped him some positions, but we've got a car off the circuit. Hannah Grisham in Hartner Racing, Aston Martin. That is by the Le Mans corner at turn 16. There's damage to the back of that Aston. It looks like the under tray has come adrift. She's sort of got that car behind the orange overlaps. Race control will be talking to the team here, Ryan. They'll want to try with 18 minutes to go to stay green here. Let's see if we can work out what happened. She was just slowing down and pulled off very sensibly. Pulled off. Yes, there is damage to that under tray, and she's got it all the way over the grass. And is that far enough behind the wall?
No, it isn't. Definitely not. You can't leave it there for sure.
There's been some contact at the back there, Ryan, though, before whatever problem has befallen Hannah.
If that's related or not, I'm not sure, but yeah, really frustrating. I thought they had a pretty good weekend, all told.
She can drive it another 10, 15 feet forwards.
I'm not saying that, to clarify, I'm not saying that Hannah's done something wrong there, Quentin. I just mean that you can't, any car can't wait there. And I wonder if she's had to shut it off straight away and cannot go any further. And
Hannah's now out of the car.
Yeah, if she could have driven it further, she would have. She's experienced enough to have done that. I think it was just turn the car off at the earliest possible opportunity, but I think this could trigger a full course yellow, and that would be an absolute Christmas present for the Toyotas.
Just to prove how warm it is out there, Hannah's just pulled a Ziploc bag of ice from inside her race suit. It isn't ice now, by the way. It's probably warm water. It's an interesting way of keeping cool. If she could only have rolled that car another 10, 15 feet.
If she could, she would have, I'm sure of it. I think it was just a call from the team, shut it off straight away. There must have been a reason for that.
We are still green.
Yeah.
And she got out of the car and walked, and I suspect she wouldn't have done that unless she got a signal.
Well, I was going to say, she'll have spoken to the team.
Right.
The team will have spoken to race control and said, are you going to throw a yellow, yes or no? Can she get out of the car, yes or no? I would have expected that to go on, because drivers don't ever want to be out of the car until they know it's safe to do so.
But maybe, I mean, if they were comfortable with her doing that, maybe they're comfortable with the car in that position. My first instinct would have been the same as yours, Peter, but for now, It stays green, we should stress, with 16 minutes to go. And this is manna from heaven for some, and it's absolutely disastrous for others.
Let's find out what's going on with that Hartner Racing Hannah Grisham car. Arjuna has gone down to Hartner Racing and brings us this BDO pit lane report.
And some of your speculation was correct. The car shut off and unable to refire it. And so Hannah's pulled it off, and fortunately, seemingly in a place where we have stayed green for the time being. Would have been much better, of course, if she was able to fire that car off, but unfortunately, technical issues ground it to a halt.
Dan Arrow in the Winwood BDO machine. BDO on the side of that car, I think for the first time this weekend, with a presence on that car from Bryce and Russell Ward. So one of the core Mustangs and the number 12 Radford car having a bit of a set two, and that is under review at the moment. That was Billy Johnson. Billy Johnson, by the way, did go off the track and then come back on, and King of Porter's been given the drive-through. Well, that's the end of any chance for the car that sat on pole position. Disaster for Rafa Racing.
Really disappointing again. Not that was the case in Daytona too, where they were really quick and had their day ended abruptly. Here, at least, it looks like they should be able to make it to the finish, but a drive-through penalty will see them tumble well outside of the top 10. One note on the points, by the way, I did get confirmation from IMSA. If you took part in the formation lap, you get credited as a starter. So that is good news.
Wow.
Because we feared it could be a non-point scoring affair for those that were taken out before they ever took the green flag. But
that's a slight change to what the regulations used to be. And I'm going back quite some time now, probably to the ALMS days. So it is going back some time. There was a contretemps coming out the final corner at Laguna Seca, and several cars didn't get to the start line, got no points, and the championship basically
was affected by that
at the end of the season.
And the thing is, when you've got 350 points for a win, a zero score is so punishing.
Yeah.
It's different, you know, if you look in, say, Porsche Cup North America, we're going to have race 2 a little bit later on. They have 25 points for a win, so a non-score isn't quite as punishing as it is when it's 350 for a win. So Dylan McIvern in the BMW for Turner Motorsport, coming along the Elmond Straight now, under pressure from the rapid Scotsman Stephen McAleer, also in a BMW in the number 27, former champion, of course, in this category, but of course so is McIvern.
My memory isn't that good, but I'm sure that used to be the rule if you didn't get to the start line.
Yes, you're right, and my source at IMSA is apparently listening to us, because I think that the impetus for the change was an incident that you were just describing, or at least one comparable to it. I think 2017-2018, I'm told, is when the change took place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could I make an early nomination for Michelin Moment of the Race, or are we too early?
No, please do, please do.
I'm going to say it's Daytona Redemption, and it's going to be the same for GS and for TCR, because the performance of the Ibiza Farm McLaren and the 99 in TCR, the Cupra for Gonzalez Motorsport with Franco Girolami, those were two slightly different stories. Neither got the result that they wanted. For Ibiza Farm McLaren, they were just way off the pace, and for the Cupra for Tyler Gonzalez Motorsport, oh no, I thought for a minute, I
thought you jinxed.
Oh no,
Celso Neto. But I mean, that was the 7th place car. That's at Tower turn 13, facing the wrong direction in the Stallion Motorsports with Go. He's got it pointing in the right direction again. How good do those Cupras look, by the way? They look like they are glued to the ground.
And remember, Celso and Kiko Porto are brothers-in-law.
Yeah.
Those two cars found each other at Daytona. Here, at least, they've stayed apart, but within the span of, 5 minutes? Misfortune has struck both of them.
Yeah. I'm going to stick in a nomination for Mikey Taylor, because he had a major failure at one of the fastest parts of the circuit. Not only did he catch it, but he had the mental wherewithal to put the car somewhere safe and leave the race running. And he's done that before, actually, in TCR. I remember that. Now, what's happened at turn 7?
Jackson Bell and
Jackson
Gregory Learfouche battling over. So Bell has finally got past.
through.
Yep. Up to 7th place as they come out of Le Mans Curve.
TCR. Well, the Seat Cupra, number 99. They've played their cards beautifully. There's been some good overtakes there for Tyler Gonzalez in that number 99 VGRT car. Can you call that a moment of the race? I'm not sure.
The redemption, it's to strike back after they were on pole at Daytona and they came home 10th because there was all a myriad of problems, and that takes character to step back and go, we trust in our pace, we trust in our ability and the way of executing, and they've done that. Likewise, for Ibiza Farm McLaren, they came out last year of the BMW M Endurance Challenge as winners. This year they came out very much as losers, so they've really done well. Now, what happened with Kiko Porto and Billy Johnson?
Well, they were battling for position on the far side of the circuit. Kiko went to the right-hand side in the braking area for turn 10, gets alongside.
Oh, no. One of race control's easier decisions of the week.
Okay.
Would you say? Missed the corner in Thailand, took somebody off. I
Well,
would say that, yeah.
Yeah, he was ahead at the apex, but he was ahead at the apex
He
because
also went off onto the grass.
Because he was never going to make the corner. Yeah.
That would be, I would just look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, my frustration was that there would be other series that would look at that and you would get fans saying, he was up the inside, he was right there, he only managed to get through.
He was also tumbling onto the grass.
Yeah,
it certainly wasn't Billy Johnson's fault anyway, that's
no,
for
Billy
sure.
Johnson could have been on the grass and he would have still hit him. From that, yeah.
Billy gave him about 3/4 of the landmass of Florida of room as well.
Yeah, I think, as you say, that was an easier decision to make. Coming into the last 9 minutes now, and it's Michael Cooper that leads for McLaren, and for Ibiza Farm Motorsport, 7.5 seconds the lead. Winward Racing, Dan Arrow took a second back last time around. Is there performance left in that AMG? And number 57. Then it's the two BMWs of Turner and Autotechnic. Stephen McAleer now within 1.5 seconds of Dylan McAvern. Pan Am Motorsport, it's not over for Pan Am Motorsport. They're another 2.5 seconds back in that number 54 with Thiago Camilo. And Nate Cicero's another 2.5 back. Jackson Bell, Gregory Learfouche, Billy Johnson back on the track and continuing. Make up the top 9. Kiko Porto's yet to do his drive-through, so that'll promote Hugh Plum for Team TGM into the top 10, and they are the only bronze class car still running as well.
Switch for 6th position, Jackson Bell. I mean, he's doing everything he can, moving past the number 13 Ford of Nate Cicero, just coming through turn 1, using what looks like pretty strong straight line speed of the Toyota, managing that well. And you know, as Ryan said, first season in GT4 machinery, you wouldn't know it. He's driving beautifully. Well,
there's got to be a Michelin moment of the race nomination there for any one of about 4 or 5 overtakes that I've seen him do in that bright pink car. I mean, the good news is your competitors can see you coming. The bad news is your competitors can see you coming, Ryan, but he's not been close to swapping vinyl with anybody.
No, it's not stealth, that's for sure. Nothing about that livery. Behind, though, a little Mustang on Mustang action. The veteran Learfouche looking up the inside of Cicero. Oh, Cicero really struggling there on the exit. I think Learfouche has the measure of him, but he can't quite get the move made just yet.
They're both on exactly the same age of tyres. 30, so they've been in the car for 36 minutes since the last pit stop, so it should be all even Stevens, theoretically.
Greg and the Stephen Cameron team carrying the orange and purple colors of Racing to End Alzheimer's. Great partnership for so many years. Greg in the car now. Sean Quinlan started it. Those two have been partners in GT4 racing in several different paddocks going back about a decade now.
I'm desperately looking for more stories for Michelin moment of the race. How about LAP Motorsports? They are sitting in 19th now in GS, 34th overall. They're the only team to get a car back out of that 10-car conflagration at the start of the race, and Clayton Williams has been just rounding his laps off. He's doing good times, actually. He did a 13.5 last time around. That's not that far off what the leader did, Michael Cooper, in the Ibiza Farm Motorsport, and they have pulled themselves up some positions, and that'll be extra points for them.
The frustrating thing for them was the fact that I think it was just a hose that was severed that they had to eventually go back to the paddock to deal with, and it took them quite a while, but they did get back out. That's good news, and I'm glad that you highlighted Clay. He was named to Ford Racing's driver development team back in January. Really quick driver when given the opportunity, and hope to see more of him and Scott Thompson as the year progresses.
Still the Mustang battle, one of the closest on the track at the moment, with the dark blue and black MMR. Macumbi Makalia Racing getting hit from behind by Gregory Leofouge there. Nate Cicero standing the car up in the middle of the corner. I think rear grip is the problem for that number 13 car, and Nate very cleverly parked the car on the apex so that Greg couldn't get the run. Yeah, he's really
front
struggling.
grip isn't great either.
Well, I think that's all rear grip going through turn 10 there. He can't tighten the corner up, Peter, because he just doesn't have the rear grip. He'd lose the back end if he tried to pinch the corner. He's trying to take as much speed through those corners as he can with his little lock on the front end, with his little steering input, so he's not leaning on the tyres. Down to turn 16 and onto the long back straight. How does he get off there? That will be the question for me. All the way off the track to the left-hand side. Here comes Gregory Leofouge. He's very close to the back. Maybe he was too close there. As Cicero goes to the middle of the track, drifts over to the right-hand side of the track. They're in the clag. They're in the pickup there. Here comes the bright orange car round the outside. It'll be last of the late breakers into 17th. But I don't think Leofouge can get it done. That's smart driving from Nate Cicero. He's not weaving around Ryan. He's not moving under braking. He's defending because he knows he has got a disadvantage, and he knows what that disadvantage is.
Well, at this point, he's seen Greg's best shot a couple of times, and he's been able to keep it at bay. That has to give him some confidence. Maybe Greg's got to throw something a little bit different at him here in the final 2 laps.
Arjuna Kangapati, give me your nominations, please, for TCR, first of all, for Michelin moment of the race.
I think that is a pretty simple one for me, John. It's the fact that the Victor Gonzalez racing team, Daytona Redemption, but also with a really interesting pit strategy, staying out there and only the one transit down pit lane today, when a lot of other teams made multiple stops. When I look at GS, it's a lot more confusing, because I think ultimately what happened was the chaos at the start set off a chain reaction where so many different strategy options became available. But the Daytona Redemption for Michael Cooper, for Moisey Uretsky, that could be a storyline. I'll go slightly different though. Dan Arrow in that Windward Mercedes, he's looking really strong at the end of this race. Remember last year it was a tough indoctrination to life in America in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. Couple of penalties at Indy for him, but he's really started to adapt to life stateside.
Yeah, and he's just taken another second out of the leaders. If Nate Cicero holds on to this, given that our Michelin moment of the race recipients get a brand new set of tyres, I think he could be up for this, to be honest, because he's doing really well with tyres that are in some ways past the grip levels that he would like from them. Peter, you sticking with your 2 Daytona Redemption stories? White flag, by the way.
I do think those Mustangs are ready for they need to go to the farrier for a rehooving, I think. So yeah, some new Michelin tyres might be nice. And I agree with you, if Cicero could hang on, that would be really cool. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I think for Ibiza Farm McLaren, they must have gone home from Daytona, really down, because it was a super tough weekend, and they just didn't appear to have a package to fight for really anything, and just had to suffer through it. And they've come back to Sebring, one of the toughest tracks on the calendar, and they've not only won, I'd say they've pretty much dominated. They've managed the strategy well, and also the qualifying performance from Moisey Uretsky, the pace that he found out the car too, put them in a good spot. So they get my vote.
Yeah, and it was Victor Gonzalez for you as well, wasn't it, for the TCR? Ryan, what do you reckon? Are you going to go with the winners? Are you going to go with someone who's fought back? The Claire Williams story. Tell me in TCR first of all.
TCR first of all. That's the one I have the least confidence
in. GS then.
I think that the call is right to go with the Ibiza Farms guys because they had to make the strategy call first. They had track position. I think they were second in that first round of pit stops. You guys were wondering, would they give up the track position to come in? Didn't hesitate. John Donovan made the call, brought that car in, and then they also covered off by making their second stop when the one-stoppers made their first. They came in one lap later to make sure they were covered strategically.
Yeah, TCR, have a think about it. I think it's obvious then that GS is going to be our race winner. This isn't always the case. And Dan Arrow is closing down, but the corners are running out for him. It's going to be under 5 seconds at the line. TCR, Victor Gonzalez Racing is the consensus so far. You going with that?
How about MMG from the back of the grid?
Yes.
Oh no, as I say that though, they just had to pit.
Yeah, they had a puncture. They've had a puncture.
Well, there goes that.
No, I'm having that. I'm gonna give them that. I am gonna give them that from the back of the grid. They'll get it. It will be MMG, and they'll get a new set of Michelin tyres. Second round of Michelin Pilot Challenge for 2026. Ibiza Farm Motorsport have their redemption from the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Michael Cooper brings home the victory after Moise Uretsky started the race, and it was a perfect race. They reacted quickly and decisively. They win our Michelin moment of the race for their quick strategic call. Coming through to win in TCR will be Victor Gonzalez Racing Team. We'll get to that in a moment, but let's go to the winning GS team and a BDO pit lane report.
They ended with 2 victories in 2025 Daytona. Daytona may have been a struggle, but Moise Uretsky's got the smile on his face once again.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the team. I think last year was amazing. This year, Daytona wasn't our best finishing position, but as a team, we just performed really well and wanted to take that momentum into this race, and qualifying went great. The start of the race was a little tricky, but Cooper got in, did his job as he always does, and again, credit to the team, and especially McLaren. I mean, we obviously love working with them, so I think, you know, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's kind of amazing.
Not just race winners, but you're our Michelin moment of the race winners for the calls on strategy to put you in this position. The team is doing a great job, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like all credit goes to the team, because especially with this race, with everything going all kinds of weird ways, this is a team sport. Anyone makes a mistake, a strategy is super critical. So yeah, obviously this is our second year with the car with the manufacturer, and yeah, the team is just performing on all cylinders, and you know, we have the results to show for it, so we're very excited.
McLaren wins at Sebring once again. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And in TCR, Victor Gonzalez Racing, Tyler Gonzalez brings home the car that was started by Franco Girolamo. By the way, how good was Franco Girolamo at the front end of that race? And the pass for the lead actually could well have been a contender for our Michelin moment of the race. But that is going to go to MMG for their run from the back of the grid. Forced upon them. They had no choice where they started, but they tried their best to get up. Unfortunately, Carl Whitmer has finished in the pit lane, but that was as nothing as to the first half of their race. They stayed out when it mattered and made up the track position. The rest of the results we'll go through in a moment. Ryan, some final thoughts from you.
This is kind of spooky. Both of the winning teams won the final 2 races of last year. Both of them had bad Daytonas, and both of them obviously won here today in Sebring. What are the odds of that?
Yeah, that is spooky.
First ever GS win for McLaren at Sebring, and you think the first ever US Grand Prix in 1959, not in a McLaren, but Bruce McLaren was the winner of that race. And I don't know how many other wins McLaren will have actually had at this racetrack at this level. And it's brilliant to see. The Ibiza Farm guys have been loyal to that package, and it's I bet it's a hoot to drive around here. That nice mid-engine layout, carbon tub, and the boys did a great job there.
Franco Girolami, it was an interesting Daytona as you made your way stateside for this Michelin Pilot Challenge season, but the pace was there for the Victor Gonzalez 99 and winners now at Sebring.
Yeah, amazing. My first victory here in USA, so in the second race, just win with Victor, with all the team. I am so proud for the team. Very, very nice race. We did amazing race. The pace was great, the car was fantastic. The teamwork, the strategy, everything was 10 points. So nothing to say, just congrats and thanks to all BGR team for trusting me. For me, the first victory here in USA, the first victory here in Sebring is unbelievable.
How different is driving this TCR in a sprint setting versus in the light, slightly longer races? Is the balance of the car quite different?
Yeah, for sure. The car is totally different. Also, how to manage the tire, how to manage the fuel. There's a lot of things in the mind, but okay, we did it, so this is the most important.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That McLaren connection, I hadn't realised that was Bruce McLaren's first F1 win. The F1 GTR won in 1995. The Gulf Kokusai team, the 12 Hours of Sebring, they went on to win Le Mans that year as well. And there have been 720S class wins in the GT3 events here as well. Here's the provisional result of the Alan J Automotive Network 120 for the Michelin Pilot Challenge. Ibiza Farm Motorsport adds to the rich history of McLaren here at Sebring with the win over Winward Racing in second. It was 2.5 seconds at the line. Bryce Ward keeping out of trouble at the beginning, and Dan Arrow, the Dutchman, coming home well. Third different manufacturer of 3 on the podium. It was Turner Motorsports BMW. That was a good run from them as well. It's a tale of what could have been for the Toyota Supras. Pan Am in 4th and in 6th and 10th as well. Auto Technica in there as well. In TCR, Victor Gonzalez Racing win from 2-3, in fact. Hyundai's of Brian Herner Autosport, 99 from 18 from 33 on the podium. Baker Racing, by the way, up in 6th position, just behind KMW, both having good runs there. The Pasquarella pole position, the highlight of the weekend from them. Random Vandals racing down in 21st position, then the rest of the TCR field, including so close for MMG, the LP Montour and Carl Whitmer car finishing in the pits at the end, but winning our Michelin moment of the race for coming through from the back. So many stories at the bottom half of the field, so pretty much everybody had problems from certainly 30th on down. There were problems for the two Hannahs for Heart of Racing. Mikey Taylor had to retire the Unitronic car, and he got that behind the wall. LAP got back out again. They were one of the 10 in the original accident. Brilliant. Clay Williams drove that car superbly for not much reward, down in 34th position, but 19th position in GS. They'll take home possibly not what they were hoping, but you know what? That'll be a real confidence booster for them, because that car has pace. Of course, at the bottom end of the timing sheets are all the cars that had the problems at the start, including VRC, Core, Medusa, Turner, Rebel Rock, CSM, BGB, Carban and Murillo. They all had issues, and add into that some of the Circle H as well. We're off to WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca for another 2-hour race next. It's the last time that the cars will be going there for the Pilot Challenge for a while, because in 2027 they'll be going to Connecticut and Lime Rock Park instead. That's on the first weekend of May. Make sure that you join us for that as we wind up towards the June 4-hour O'Reilly Autoports event at Mid-Ohio. Then it's Watkins Glen, CTMP, Road America, VIR, Indianapolis, and then we finish off, of course, at the end of September and the beginning of October at Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, for the Fox Factory 120. However you've been watching us today, you'll be able to watch all of those races right throughout the season. Arjuna Kankapati was our BDO pit lane reporter, and in the Ford Racing Global Broadcast Centre with me, John Hindhaugh, was Peter Mackay and also Ryan Marine. He did double duty because he did some BDO pit lane reporting for us as well. Yes, Andy's a country music DJ. He is just so versatile. He can do everything. I don't know why the rest of us end up turning up, to be honest. Enjoy the rest of your racing weekend. It's been a fast Friday to remember for the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. Congratulations to Ibiza Farm Motorsports and to Victor Gonzalez Racing. Bye-bye for now.